In distant times, the movement of continental plates thrust a great spine of mountains through the clouds along the Australian eastern coastal strip. With volcanic eruptions enriching the soil at its feet, this great dividing range gives birth to and forms the backdrop for a unique environment, the domain of the big rivers of northern New South Wales. Here in the Gibraltar Range National Park, the handiwork of powerful forces is apparent amidst the scattered granite grandeur. And among forbidding rocks, nature's seemingly random hand creates an exquisite balance with the warm glow of the Waratah and sudden hidden glades of wildflowers. Lee Pearce has been an international photographer for 20 years, but for the past decade he has concentrated on the natural environment of the Northern Rivers region of New South Wales. The realization had come to him that within a few hours of his home were some of the world's richest and most diverse offerings. An expression of his work is this journey in sight and sound from mountain to sea. My name is Russell Eldridge. I am a journalist living and working on the Northern Rivers. I was asked by Lee to accompany him on this regional voyage of discovery. Through lens and pen, we would record the experience. Gibraltar Range is a place of legends and mystery, where a passing cloud's shadow changes the mood of Anvil Rock. The area formed the boundaries of 3 Aboriginal tribes, among them the North Coast's Bundjalung people, who practiced rock arrangement as an art form and wove dreamtime stories about the Waratah and the symbolism of individual rock formations. Tumbling from their mountain heights, the river's joyful rush attracts human fun seekers, be it serious whitewater competitors, adventurous holiday makers, or the quiet ones, whose patience is rewarded in the still depths of perch pools. The mood has changed again, and in the peaceful stretches of the Wilson's River through Lismore, scullers bend their backs along the green highway. The youthful gallop of the young rivers has slowed to a gentle pace as it tastes the salt of the sea. The ocean is still a way off, and the Richmond River has settled into their meandering path, reluctant to make its exit. At Swan Bay, the work of ages has cut off a loop of the river, creating a haven. Here, where the tides determine the flow, feathered flocks seek out the quiet reaches. And here too, our boat takes us to discover patient spoonbills, stately pelicans, and shy black swans which abound among the mud flats and serpentine twists. The first white settlers pushed up the mighty Clarence River system to establish the pioneer village, which today is the graceful city of Grafton, nestled snugly in history. Throughout the region, history is on hold, with the preservation of old buildings and landmarks, many of them serving as museums and bases for historical societies. It was nature's treasure trove which attracted the settlers last century, the coppery flush of giant red cedars drawing them ever deeper into the forests and ultimately opening up the region to agriculture and industry. But while these pioneers have passed into history, there were even earlier settlers who arrived in times unrecorded. Their passing left little record, although the coastal Aboriginal tribes led a life of abundance. They even preceded the modern tourist boom, as their seasonal journeys brought them to the coastline to feast off the sea's bounty. The big rivers have been highways to Aborigine and white settler alike, with their usage reaching a peak to haul out the harvest of forest and field. But although many traditional ways and skills have been lost through progress, some are retained and even provide an enduring form of entertainment. A country show without camp drafting just doesn't seem the same. And there are more ways than one of getting your kicks out of horse riding. Springtime heralds the start of the show circuit and festival time on the northern rivers. It's a time to bring out your best because the chips are down in the main arena. But for most, it's a warm-up for the long summer season ahead. And whether it's your choice to go bananas in Coffs Harbour or succumb to the mauve madness of Grafton's Jacaranda Festival, it's a time to indulge the fantasies. And what fantasies some have. Fun can be productive too, and even create a lifestyle through a range of crafts and cottage industries. Most find expression through the bustling, colourful markets which burst into flower every weekend. It seems no coincidence that the region's diversity supports a similar wide range of lifestyles. There, sustaining all this rich hum of life, are its arteries, running clear and strong. The southernmost river that defines the region is the Manning, with its historical towns and rich farmlands. Without these liquid life support systems, there would be no lifestyle, no beef, dairy, horticulture and sugarcane industries. Nor would there be one of Australia's biggest river fishing grounds, not to mention the offshore harvest. Timber and agriculture have long been the regional mainstay, but that economic base has broadened, particularly within the past 30 years. Rivers play an important part too in the Northern River's newest and brightest industry, tourism. Water acts as a magnet on people who switch on to a pleasure mode when confronted with a stretch of water or pounding waves. the Pacific laps leisurely at hundreds of kilometres of headlands, bays, beaches and estuaries. Welcoming arms of Coffs Harbour enclose the safest deep water anchorage along the coast, a favourite port for international sailors. While at Byron Bay, Australia's most easterly point catches the Pacific curlers and sweeps them around the Cape for the waiting surfers. To many, particularly the young, Byron Bay is the jewel on the coast. For thousands of locals and holidaymakers alike, the greatest gift of the rivers and wetlands is the amateur fishing industry, which underpins much of the regional appeal. The sweeping vistas roll on. The curve of Trial Bay at the mouth of the Macquarie River is like the flourish of a master artist. A view not necessarily shared by the inmates of Her Majesty's Public Works Prison, whose granite grimness looms mockingly above the inviting beaches. Although by all accounts the last prisoners, World War I political detainees, patiently endured their internment with bouts of tennis, swimming and beer brewing. Now, like the river sands that have been washed down to form these beaches, we find ourselves deposited on the sweeping dunes at Hat Head. The surrounding national park is but another facet of this amazing region. Amid the summery dazzle of activity along the coastline, there exist these great quiet stretches of coastal parkland where nature predominates and breathes easy. Here in heath, forest and wetland, her rampant diversity is free to evolve under the protection of the national parks system. These are important places for people too, for here we come face to face with the sights, sounds and smells of nature undisturbed. They are places of renewal and inspiration. Sunset on the Tweed River, and our journey is over. We have followed the droplets that formed on a leaf in a distant mountain forest, seen them sweep and swell through this varied landscape. These are the impressions we leave as the Mount Warning Massif cuts our boat down to size. Although its volcanic strength has been subdued by the ages, the mountain is a powerful symbol. Towering above a landscape shaped by its eruptions, it tells of origins, but it also beckons new eras, lifestyles, and activities.